Good afternoon, morning.
Afternoon.
Some of you I know, Patrick, Grace, how are you? Patrick is a practitioner. Which radio station are you on there?
Omega 104.1.
Okay. Yeah, you can hear Patrick. He does a lot of health information there. Oh. I don't have that much behind, man. Thought I did. Guess I left half my ass in America. Anyway, this evening, this afternoon, we're going to talk about health and ways to protect it, and basically how it's being attacked by everybody, by the junk food stores, McDonald's, KFC. It's like walking in a minefield. You don't know what you're going to step on, and they blow off your health. And the amount of information you have to know is just overwhelming, because they can list the vitamins and minerals on the package, but if they radiate the food, then all those vitamins and minerals are not digestible anymore. And they do not have to tell you what they have irradiated at all anymore. Radiation simply means they pass it by some nuclear waste. And nuclear waste kind of makes the vitamins and minerals too hard to be digested. And they do not, by law, have to tell you that they have irradiated the food. And of course, they in business to stay in business. That's what it's always been about the Europeans. They're in business to stay in business. And they play a game called, if you're big, you cannot fail. The government will bail you out. If you're big enough, you will never fail. And of course, they buy their competition. They don't compete with people, they buy them. Like Monsanto doesn't compete with the health food store. They bought the health food stores. Carl bought Holland and Barrett, another drug company. So they don't worry about it. They buy their competition. So what we have to do is just be in a defense mode all the time, protect ourselves, and knowing some basic things about health would help. Some basic things: drinking water, eating water, because you can't drink water. You have to eat it. In order to digest water, it has to get into your blood. To get into your blood, it has to go through your liver and your pancreas. So you're eating water, and it requires healthy liver and pancreas to digest water. But if they're not healthy, you can buy the best gasoline for your car, but if the motor's bad, it's not going to work. So those organs have to be healthy so you can digest the water. And the body wants to recycle the water, so it uses the kidneys to recycle the water, recycle minerals. It doesn't let you pee out all your minerals. The kidneys take the minerals out of the urine and send it to the liver. Say, I'm not peeing out all the minerals. I need the calcium. I need this iron, so why should I pee it out? So you have to have a healthy kidney so you can recycle the minerals. Else you're just going to lose all your minerals and have to eat more because your kidney's weak. When your kidney's weak, you're losing all your minerals. You weaken your kidneys with sugar and salt. So much sugar, you end up on dialysis or kidney failure. That means when you eat, you're not getting the minerals out of your food because you're peeing them all out because the kidney's not working. Just knowing some fundamental things about health, about how your body works. You see those numbers on the package? Those numbers tell you what country it's from. 3 digits identifies the company, the country. 2 digits is usually somewhere in America or Europe somewhere. But if it's 3 digits, it lets you know the country, Arabia, wherever. If it's 4 digits, that means the food is organic, but it may have been modified. If it's 5 digits, it's organic, totally. And it has to start with a number 9 or a number 8. It has to be 5 digits, and that indicates the food has not been touched or sprayed or anything. Less than 5 digits, you're into junk food. So they don't tell you about the numbers. But the people in the industry know what the numbers mean. When you get into the lower numbers, you're getting into food that's had everything done to it, because foreign countries do not have to follow any standards at all. They're still using stilbestrol, which causes birth defects, on food. They're still using Agent Orange, that causes cancer, on food in other countries, because they don't have to follow those laws. So it's best to grow the food outside of the UK or outside of America, and that way you don't have to follow none of these health standards. The same with the cattle. the second largest consumer of cattle are the Chinese. Within 10 years, China will be the second largest English-speaking country in the world. Of course, they have taken over South Africa, as you know. The Arabs already own North Africa, as you know. That's what goes on. So just being aware of how your body functions and staying out of the politics, that's a bit much. Because it's not politics, it's a politricks. So don't even try to follow that stuff. They tell you they invaded the country, they're lying to you. They already own the country. Invasions are over. That's 18th century talk. They don't invade countries. They own countries and manipulate populations. They already own half of China. Look at where your clothes are made from. The U.S. and the UK pull out of China, China will fall. This whole town's dependent on America buying their belts. Look at where it's coming from. They invaded China for production. You still think it's about some gun shooting somebody. The war, that kind of fighting is on TV. The real fighting is in production. If you control production, you control the people. Frederick Douglass said, seize the means of production, then you're free. If you don't produce something, sell it to your own people, you're a prisoner. You got to produce it and sell it to your own people to be free. The Chinese are selling everything to the U.S. and the UK, so they're not free. If those two countries stop buying, their economy sinks. Same with Japan. Just look and see where the stuff is made from, and that lets you know what the Europeans control. I just went into that little bit of military logic for you because that's what I did for about 3 or 4 years. Your idea of what the military does is complete fantasy. Complete. I don't even want to talk about that part. I'll just talk about the health issue. Now then, our children are born with the smallest birth weight and the smallest head size because of the stress that is put on the sperm, which nobody likes to talk about because everybody in chauvinistic medicine blames everything on women. Well, I'm sorry. Half of the problem is the sperm. I'm just going to talk about the problems that the sperm causes. Primarily nerve damage. Autism is caused by sperm that has been damaged. The sperm is very fragile. The male sperm does not live that long. Male sperm has one dot in it that you can see with a microscope. Female sperm has 2 dots in it. It moves very slow because it got all that weight. But male sperm has 1 dot in it and it moves very fast. So when the sperm is stressed, the male sperm cannot survive because that's the first ones that die. If a little boy makes it past 2, he will live in the world. Boys die at a higher rate because their system is not that strong. Not because they're weak, it's just because they cannot store enough energy. Energy is stored by females. They have breasts, they have hips, they store energy. Men do not store energy. It's the same with the male sperm. It can't store enough energy to protect itself, so it dies. It signals that it's a crisis. And to signal a crisis, you need your nervous system. So it signals a crisis, signals a crisis, signals a crisis, so much that it burns out the nerves. That's what speeds do. Cocaine does. It burns out the nerve from firing so much. So the sperm is firing off so much because the person is drinking alcohol, smoking, arguing, drinking junk foods of all sorts, taking drugs, vaccinations, you name it, and the sperm say, don't do this, nigga. Don't do this, nigga. It's firing off, firing off. Because the nerves burn out. And then when it goes in to fertilize the egg, the nervous system is weak. Because it's already been compromised by the diet that fed the sperm. If you're trying to get a good chicken, you got to start with a good hen. You got to start somewhere. If you're trying to get a good egg from a chicken, you got to feed the chicken properly. I'm just going to basics here. If you're trying to get some good sperm from a man, you better feed the man properly. He better feed himself properly. If I own a herd of cattle, all female, and I'm trying to get them to get knocked up, as they would say, get pregnant, and make me some more calves, I call the man who owns the bull. I say, look at here, can you send me some sperm? He said, yeah, I can do that. I got a bucket out back. I said, yeah, okay. By the way, how you been feeding those bulls? Oh, well, they stay up late at night. They don't get proper sleep. They drink at 40s and drink, beer. They go out in the club. They drinking. They partying. I said, look, I don't want that sperm, and I hang up on him. Wouldn't nobody in the cattle industry buy the kind of sperm coming out of a bull? I'm just telling you, basic stuff. So a lady's dating a man, and he's cute. He's got it going on. He's got a tattooed on his ass. He's sagging his pants. He's looking good, like a slave. Brands his own self now. Yeah, he's looking good. Well, brother, you're getting proper sleep. Ask these questions. Well, you got too much poor quality sperm. I can't deal with you. Because if we have children, the children will be hyperactive. They end up in trouble. They end up addicted. They end up in jail. That's messing up the future of our race. I can't date you anymore. You look good, but niceness look good, but the cake, yeah. So all of us are just dealing with the icing and forgetting about the damn cake. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's a poor quality sperm that causes a lot of problems because the nervous system of the sperm is trying to say, keep this alcohol away from me. Keep this smoke away from me. Keep this junk. It's firing off, and it eventually burns out a lot of the nerves. Nerves at the end have fingers, and these little fingers burn out so it can't grab things properly. Trying to grab something with two fingers, trying to grab a germ or a gene with two fingers, you're not going to grab it fully. And that's what I'm talking about, about the nervous system. It can't pick up what it needs because you have burnt out one of the fingers. It's called a D2 dopamine receptor site. It gets burnt out from smoking marijuana. I can look at it under the microscope. D2 dopamine receptor site. That's basic science. Philosophy is one thing. Science is another. I don't talk philosophy. I am not a preacher. I'm just saying scientifically, I can take you in the lab and show you. I can take you in a lab and show you DMT, dimethyltryptamine cell. The more of them you have, the more spiritual you are, the more psychic you are. I can take you in a lab and show you that cell. Black people have more of them. White people have the least. I can take you in a lab and show you that. I'm just talking science here. I don't argue people's beliefs. Some people believe they're Quaker. Some people believe they're Jew. Some people believe they're Muslim. Some people believe they're Christians. But all of them sold us into slavery. So I don't believe any of it. I'm just keeping it real. The good ship Moses. The good ship Muhammad. Yes. The Chinese were in the slave trade. Documented. So were the Indians in East India. Yes. I'm just trying to say that we're looking at science right now. I can look at beliefs if you want, but that's not my area. My area is the human body. That's what I keep up on. That's the research papers I read. I'll leave that other stuff to other people. Hey, Kevin, how you doing, bro?
I'm good.
Yeah. Keeping it real. Yeah. Hey, man, how you doing?
Sit down, brother.
They keep it real. Yeah. How you doing? Handed me a bag of, what was that bag of you handed last night?
I don't remember.
It was from Tesco or something was in there. Some white sugar chocolate, white sugar drinks. After the lecture, he handed me the bag. He didn't hand me. Said, I ain't messing with it no more. That was it. Immediately. See, some no-gros would argue with themselves. Well, that candy bar looks good. No, I'll do it tomorrow. He got it from the lecture and said, I ain't messing with no more. Here, take it. That was it. Yes.
You know, with the radiation, what's the aid of that with them? When they radiate the food, what's the purpose behind it?
The purpose of the radiation of salt and sugars to preserve the food. You have to kill the food to preserve it. So the more they kill it, the more stable it is on the shelf because it's already dead.
Like embalming.
Yes, essentially a form of embalming.
If we look on in one sense, on this planet, and you look for the sun, and we know say most of the beings on this planet will live under like radiation, like even the food will have some sort of radiation naturally in it. That's alright compared to the forced radiation from man.
Radiation is a natural process. Everything is copy in nature. Radiation is a form of Copy of nature. The radiator radiates heat, so you call it a radiator.
Mm-hmm.
All elements radiate, which you can call electricity or magnetism. It gives off something. When you give off something, we call it radiating. That's the process. So they pass it by nuclear waste, and the nuclear waste radiates. It gives off electrical and magnetic charge. And that electricity and magnetism is damaging to the cells of the plant. Sort of like a cell phone. It radiates the energy to your brain, and it heats up your brain too hot. But your brain should be less than 98.6. 98.2 is fine for the brain. 98.6 is too hot for the brain. So the blood vessels branch off into about 3 or 4 before it goes to the brain and cools down the blood. It's too hot. A cell phone radiates too much heat. It's over 98.6, so it's too much heat for the brain, which means all the cells have to adjust, which we call mutate. It has to change because the environment which it's living in is different, so it has to change to live in that environment. But making that change means it has to change the way it transmits and broadcasts and receives thoughts. They're not trying to make the cell phone mobile. They're trying to make your brain mobile so they can use it. That's just basic science. You don't want to mess with a scientist. We can mess you up in so many different ways you can't even follow it. We're trying to change the way your brain cells are organized so they can be organized in my favor and not in your favor. That's the whole objective of the mobile phones. The whole objective of genetically modifying plants is to genetically modify you. The whole objective of having a plantation, which started with plants, that's where you get the word plantation from. When you take the plants out of their natural environment, line them up in a row, you can control them. You leave them in a natural environment, you can't control them. So they learned how to control us from a plantation. Then they put us on a plantation, and we haven't figured it out. Whatever they do to the plants, they're going to do to you. Because they always start with the plants. In psychology, we always start with rats. First, we change the rat's behavior, taught the rats how to learn things which we call rote learning. Repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. Don't understand it, but repeat it. So they did this process with rats and things in the rat's family, which is a rabbit, a pig, all of those are in the rat family. And they trained these rats to do certain things. And they said the best way to control these rats is to keep the young rats away from the old rats. Are you following me? So there's no transmission of knowledge. And that's the experiment they did on rats. And then they did it on people. And they built them in the U.S. and we call them projects because it started from a rat modification project. And then they put us in a project. Then we wonder why the children doing this, why they doing that. Well, you separated the young from the old, and and then they said that's not enough. The next thing we have to do is start an age grade education, which just started. This in history of China, Japan, Africa, all the children were in one room. In the first grade, all of them. So if someone like in the 8 years old doesn't understand something, they don't ask someone 15, they ask someone 9. And someone 9 can translate it better because they're in the same language range. So that made the information was going faster. They said, wait a minute, we got to stop this thing. Let's put all people 7 years old in the same class, all people 9 years old. They call that age grade education. The first experiment done on that was with rats and rabbits. They said, now we got it. Now we control it. Now let's do it to the school system. The first thing we do is modify plants. The second things we do is to use rats in our psychological studies. Now we've changed the behavior of the rat. This plant is still too smart. It's still in nature. You know, it's acting like corn or acting like tomatoes. It's too much in its nature. So wait a minute here. Let's splice this tomato seed with a rat cell. Because we already controlling the rat, so if we put them both together, I can control the tomato more. And that's why we modify the plants. We put a rat cell with a tomato cell. We put a moth cell with a potato cell. Because we can control the moth, but we couldn't control that damn potato. Makes you angry, potato acting like a damn potato. You just cross it with a moth, and you can control the moth's behavior, which is not really a tomato or a potato. It's now a moth potato and a rat tomato. But we're just telling you it's a tomato because we don't want you to know that this is what we're doing. Like I said, don't try to keep up with these scientists because we're crazy. Fundamentally, you're crazy. Staying in a room all day just dealing with some damn rats can make your, wire your brain differently. You may walk out the room eating cheese and stuff like that, running from cats. You don't know. You've been in a room with a rat all day. I mean, it does something to your spirit, is what I'm essentially saying. But nonetheless, all we have to know essentially is how things function and how to keep them function and understand this thing that I'm talking about, which is sperm. We have to know that the sperm is causing a lot of damage in the children. Do not think it's just the women with venereal disease, fibroids, pelvic inflammation. No, it's the sperm. The sperm that's malnourished will behave different from a sperm that's nourished. This is basic stuff. So if the man is drinking, smoking, cussing, fussing, looking at the game, looking at violence all the time, looking at ways to lie and deceive all the time, what you call sports, and sports are nothing but games of lying and deception. I'm going to pretend I'm going this way, but I'm actually going that way. Deception, lying about it. You're just doing it on the field. They're military games, so you can practice military logic. So that's all the sperm has been doing. Watching, lying, stealing, deception. That's all it's been doing. That has an impact on the sperm. The sperm will behave differently around spirituality. I'm talking to, harmony, meditation, all that good stuff. The environment has an impact on you, and you have the impact on the environment. The environment can be you walk outside in the rain, so it makes you change your life. Now you're getting an umbrella and a coat because the environment had an impact on you. The environment, the nutritional environment of the sperm has an impact on the sperm. That's what I'm trying to say. It becomes one and one is two. A friend of mine who's on a fast again, I told him not to do it, but that's what he does, Dick Gregory. He says to me, the most difficult thing to get people to do is see the obvious. It's obvious what's going to happen to the sperm if it's getting nutritionally malfed and malnourished, spiritually, emotionally. It's obvious, but the most difficult thing to get people to do is to see the obvious. Absolutely. It's obvious. God put hair on your head, then you cut it off. Why? The hair is there for a function, but now it's a fashion to have a bald head. And I'm saying, what? This thing started during colonialism and slavery. The men used to take axle grease. That's the grease on the wheel. When the men help to spin, they take that black axle grease and put it on their hair to make it slick, look black, shine. I want to look white. And if they couldn't do that, they cut the hair short so they wouldn't show any kinky. Because they don't want to show kinky, because kinky is Africa. You follow what I'm saying? So they started cutting their hair short because of slavery. What are they doing today? Going to a barber shop. Castration. It's an emotional castration causes intellectual castration, which causes physical. Because I got to the emotions. I said, no, you'll feel much better in life if you don't show that African hair. You know what I'm saying? I got to the emotions. You'll have a better life. Yeah, Michael Jackson. Yeah. See, he's another victim of someone saying, emotionally someone got to him. I have nothing against Michael Jackson or any child star, which are athletes. Athletes start as children. They start breathing. Say, you want to be a soccer player? You follow me? They don't have a life. Their life is the soccer field, the tennis field. An entertainer's life is the stage. They're child stars. Do not forget that sports is entertainment. And the people in entertainment, the big ones, have been robbed of their childhood. And all of them are wacky. I'm telling you, all of them. They don't know where the yellow is on their teeth. They can't even find a fart coming out their own ass. I'm just saying they just gone. Because they were child stars and they were deprived of their childhood. You cannot jump past your childhood and expect to be a balanced adult. And these child stars, soccer players, football players, basketball players, singers, dancers, actors were child stars. And each one of them was crazy. I worked with most of them a long time ago. Praise the Lord, I don't do it no more. I'm talking about Marvin Gaye, child star, Whitney Houston, child star, Eddie Murphy, child star, Will Smith. I can go down the whole list. And you know they yeah. OJ, a child star. They started breeding him in high school. Yeah. Child star. They gave him everything he wanted in high school. White girls, little things like that, incidental. But you got everything you want when you were an athlete. This goes on even today. So they're spoiled. They don't have to use... Look at this. A sports person only listens to his coach. His coach is his mother and father. And you know that. They don't listen to their coach. So they're used to getting directions. They don't have to think for themselves. The coach say, move this way, eat that potato, wake up, fart, belch. Coach tell them everything. Then they get in a marriage with a lady, and the lady say, well, what are we going to do about the budget? I don't know. I'm just a millionaire. I don't know what to do. I guess I get some rims. Put some rims on the bed. You can't ask him to make a decision. He's never made a decision in his life. He didn't even decide on you. The coach said that. I'm just saying, you have to, realistically, the most difficult thing to do is see the obvious. And it's obvious that you cannot jump a step in life. You paid for it. And the sperm has jumped a step. The incubation step has been jumped. It incubates on the side of the testicles in a little sac called the epididymis. Got to stay there for 3 weeks or so. Then it goes all the way up to the top to another sac on the side of the prostate. Stay there for a while. A month. 3 months to get a mature sperm. But if the sperm is quickly, because it's sickly, it incubates quickly. It hurry up. And it jumps through all the steps. A man called George Washington Carver said, plants that's sickly breathe quickly. Are we breathing quickly? Yeah. The sperm did the same thing and said, I'm in trouble. I better hurry up and grow up before this Negro kills me. I better hurry up. And that's what happens. It jumped a step in its maturation, in its ability to be mature. Maturity is like this in physiology. I'm just giving you a physiological way of understanding the brain. If I've been talking too long, because I don't like to talk. I'm really not a talker. I'm doing this because you are here. But in my personal life, I am quiet. I don't know how to socialize. I have very few friends because you got to pay attention to them. I'm just don't think I'm all of that. I'm a very quiet person. I'm known as a loner. You can ask my mother, my sister, brother. He was always quiet. He always kept to himself. He read a lot and he kept quiet. So just forgive me for talking. So nonetheless, I'm saying a seed that's sickly will reproduce quickly. A plant that's sickly. I'm just saying you can't jump a step. So to understand what I'm talking about is letters are right here, like letter A, B, C, D, E, F. That's right here. Words are made right here in the parietal lobe of the brain. A sentence is made here. Letters are here. You formulate them here into a word, and from here you make a sentence. Clear? Now, if your life has been emotionally traumatized, you can't make an end product too well because you weren't able to get the letters to formulate a word to make an end product. So you say, why don't you ever finish your homework? Why don't you finish things that you start? Why have to watch everything you do to make sure you do it right? Even if you do something, you don't do it right. You ever noticed that? We call it output disorder in psychology. We know what happened. It's the sperm. We know